upstairs for sure. That's it. We just, it matters more than but yeah, we're all Mr. Chairman, we're good to go.
All right. As is our custom, if you'll please stand and we'll pledge allegiance to the flag, and we had to bring in a small one. We're borrowing the room. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to our special meeting, specifically to deal with the protest that was filed. Historically, we have public comment, look at bills, and correspondence, but this is a special meeting, so we're going to go right to it. I would, for purposes of making a record, indicate that we had received on July 31st of 2023 a protest signed by John Grimm, an elector, City of Marietta. The protest deals specifically with the nominating petition of Ann C. Labas. And I think we're all acquainted with the content of it. And so this will be made a part of our official records and so forth with regard to this case. I understand Mr. Grimm is represented by counsel, and we did not know before going on the record. We were advised that we had made arrangements for Mr. Grimm to appear via Zoom. We also use Zoom for folks, sometimes they can't attend just on our own website. And we were advised that Mr. Grimm is hospitalized. But we also understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, counsel, that there are witnesses that are here to testify. Is that correct? Other than Mr. Grimm?
Yes, yes, sir. There are other witnesses here to testify. Mr. Graham, at 8 o'clock this morning, was in the hospital. He expected to attend via the link for these reasons. And I was just recently retained so that I could help streamline this evidence a little bit here. Because of the facts, I am going to ask that I be allowed to put witnesses on today since we're all here. But I am going to reserve the right to come back here. I have subpoenaed, I have drafted subpoenas, and I have subpoenaed targets that will help the board decide this issue. Those are not back yet due to the timing of my appearance here as well as John's. So with that being said, John is out of town and we're going to attend by video conference because business is about 6 months.
Mrs. Labas, I apologize for, I guess I'll ask first, do you have a position with regard to us proceeding in the absence of Mr. Grimm? And we obviously have the ability to take a recess or adjourn for further hearing. And that would also help you accommodate if you had witnesses that may not be present that you would want perhaps after you hear or testimony is given.
I'm prepared to proceed.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you. All right. Well, I think our plan, unless I'm vetoed or someone thinks differently, we will take evidence of the citizens that are here, people that, and then we can, if we feel it's necessary and we need further evidence, we can recess, adjourn, and take more evidence. Now you have to understand that we are under certain time constraints and so forth, plus we want to make sure that we try to be as prompt with a decision as possible. So we are also still in the process of conducting the election. The election, as of Tuesday, is an unofficial event. The actual official event will not take place until August 28th, as it's currently set on our calendar when we do the final canvass. We will be meeting on the 16th because Ohio statutory law requires that we meet 8 days after the election to review absentee ballots, to review provisional ballots, or I should say the envelopes and so forth, so we can then look at a ballot if it's permissible for us to open it. So we have that going on. So I think our sort of notion is that we'll probably target the 28th as a possible backup date to complete this. But we're probably not going to know that until we at least get in and hear evidence and so forth. So does that sound fairly good for the rest of the board? All right, with that, well, Council, would you first make your appearance? I apologize.
Ryan Ashworth on behalf of the protestor John Graham, an elector of the city.
Right. If you want to proceed, you may. We're ready.
Yeah, briefly, I will open. Ms. Slaves filed a petition for candidacy for mayor in late April of this year. The address placed on the petition was an address that comes back to a restaurant on Front Street owned by an LLC known as Emmanuel's. Based on that, the protest was lodged in the protest store is alleging that the address is incorrect, that Ann Laves is not an elector of the city and therefore not be a candidate. That being said, I would present this.
Okay, you may call your first witness. Oh, and how many people do you anticipate are going to be witnesses? We'll let the court reporter swear all of them in at one time, and then we won't have to have people hop up and down. If you're going to be a witness, you anticipate you're a witness, please stand.
For either side? Or...
Either side. So. And raise your right hand. And...
Okay, everybody, do you swear that the testimony that you're giving?
Thank you. All right, your first witness.
I would like him to come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can get that chair possibly.
Here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Ma'am, state your name for the record.
They sunk for part.
And board, does the board mind if I sit down as I interview?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Lisa, tell us what your address is.
Maybe five about the road.
Do you have knowledge of a person who goes by the name of Laves? Do you know who he is?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what kind of car she drives? Do you know if someone that drives that car lives on Bethel Road around the 1100 block?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you know about an address on Bethel Road on the 1100 block that has that car located at it on occasion.
So coming from work, going to work, coming from town for many different reasons, I see like residents and I see that people parking there quite frequently.
So in your employment, you travel past 1160 Bethel Road on a frequent basis,
Yes.
almost daily.
Yes.
And you have done so for the last 6 months or so?
Yes. I would go 30 years.
from your observation, can you see who is present as far as the vehicles are concerned at that residence when you drive by? In other words, can you observe the parking lots?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Throughout this time period, is it accurate to say that the car you associate with Van Laves was always located at the Bethel address when you went to work in Cleveland?
Well, are you asking me if that's daily?
Sure, you tell me, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Does Van Laves, in your opinion, reside at the restaurant on Front Street?
No.
Why do you believe that?
Because I see the 11, 6, probably, I mean, 4 times out of the week, 5 times out of the week. I can't say that it's there every day, but it is there more often than it is not.
So in your personal experience, you would believe that the resident of that house drove that car? And that was true for April of this year as well. And have you seen any change in the manner in which those cars were parked outside recently?
I would say,
You have the floor on.
well,
Lisa, if you'd like to tell us anything that you think is important. I think what we're trying to do here is find the truth.
I have noticed in the past couple of days that the grass has been cut, some of the weeds that have been laid around, some of the other items kind of are getting more orderly, I guess. There's a big light. One good day in a way that was a good one that I had never noticed there before. I don't know, just like they're trying to move out.
Okay, well,
Or things like that are changing.
have you seen
Other than that.
any moving vans at that residence in April? Did you ever consider that those residents moving out of that residence prior to this recently? I'm past this witness for now. I will say that Lisa does have some photographs that we're going to subpoena, produce in high quality, and provide to the board. Lisa, you might have to come back, but just you don't have them here. You've taken photographs of that residence on different occasions as you've traveled past. And these photographs are, they also preserve within them a date. And you will produce those photographs. With that being said, I'll pass this witness for now. Preserving the right to recall.
Would you like us to move a table up here so that?
That's, I'll just come around for purposes across, if that's
I just
okay.
wanted you to be comfortable, we wanted to write it at the same time.
For purposes of the record, my name's Ann Lovis, and I'm the subject here. Couple cross questions. Ms. Burkhart, is that correct? You and I have never met, correct? You and I have never had personal conversations, correct? You and I have never worked together, correct? You stated that you know what kind of car I drive. How is that?
I've seen it down on Front Street.
Would you be so?
Orangey.
Okay. Would you be surprised to learn that car registered under my name?
Whatever that vehicle is.
So the vehicle that you have seen that you claim is outside of an address on Bethel Road is not a fixed vehicle. What else do I drive?
Numerous.
Well, you stated that you know what I drive, excuse me. You stated before that you know what I drive.
Wait a minute, wait.
You're gonna have to wait until she asks the question. Well, I guess I wasn't finished.
Sure, you state to the board that you know what I drive, and you are testifying that that is a Ford Bronco. That's your testimony. Now, have you ever been upstairs at 286 Front Street?
Upstairs at
286 Front Street, where I live? No, I've never invited you to my home. You've never seen a moving van at this address on Bethel Road, that was your testimony, correct?
I don't know what that van was.
All right, so, nothing further, I'm fine.
One follow-up, man, you confirm for me that 286 Front Street, Marietta, Ohio, from 30 years ago around here is in the west. 286 Front Street, apartment 1, and apartment 2, above the restaurant.
She the city engineer.
I'm gonna object, she doesn't have knowledge of this.
I think that's what she just said.
No further questions.
Did you have anything as a result of that little rebuttal? Very good, all right, thank you.
Are you sure you don't want to get here? It might be easier.
That's, I have all my stuff back here already, I'll just go back when I need to, but thank you.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it.
We'll call Josh Swindon. Jonathan, I apologize. State your name for the record, sir.
Jonathan Swindon,
What do you do for a living?
Deputy Sheriff,
Who are your deputy sheriff for?
Monroe County,
Where do you live, sir?
20689, State Route 676, Marietta, Ohio, 5750.
Other than a deputy sheriff, what else do you do in your professional life?
I am a reserve officer for the Health Department. I'm also the captain for the Warren Township Volunteer Fire Department. Fire EMS.
Run fire and EMS, or perform any official duties whatsoever on Bethel Road in Marietta?
Occasionally we have emergency calls.
Do you know Ann Lottis?
No, sir.
Do you know what type of car Ann Lottis drives?
No, sir.
Do you know a residence on Bethel Avenue, 1160? You know where that is?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any opinion as to who lives there, and how would you know that?
I have just seen a couple of times Lawless and Gary Gold at the residence during my passing.
When you say a couple of times, are you saying occasionally, frequently, or all the time?
Just occasionally.
What car, if you can tell us, that you're a professional observer, what kind of car do they operate when you see them?
They have multiple cars. I don't know whose cars, who drives what.
Do you have any information that would help the board determine whether Ann Labes resided at a restaurant on Front Street in April of 2013? Excuse me, Mike.
The only thing I could add to that would be is, those vehicles do show up. I'm not sure who drives what vehicle. In order to get back to the restaurant where no vehicle parked during evening time, night time, we have to get a ride.
Are you, so we're all clear, is your testimony that you don't see vehicles at the restaurant parked there at night?
That's correct, but I don't look in the alleys.
So if there's parking in the alley, you pick up.
That's correct. I can just assure you there's lights on that house too.
And the house, you talked about that.
That's correct.
I'll pass this one.
Thank you. Deputy, I didn't catch your name. Luke Schwindman, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it is your testimony that you do not know me.
That's right.
And it is your testimony that you do not know what I know.
That's
Correct. All right. And it is your testimony that you've seen me a couple times occasionally at Bethel Road, correct?
That's correct.
How would you identify me?
Just by knowing who you are. I don't know you, but I know you. Just like a lot of people in this room, I know, but I don't not personally.
So how would you identify me if you don't know me? Have you seen me? Have you ate at my restaurant on 286 Front Street?
I did a long time ago, probably 2.5 years ago.
You see me there? Now, you stated that you don't know what I drive,
That's right.
but you said that my vehicle is what I would drive is not parked on the front street.
Vehicles is at the residence. It's not at the residence, or it's not at the restaurant.
Are you familiar with Marietta city ordinances that require businesses and people who live on Front Street to have off-street parking?
That's why I said I don't know if you're parking.
And you are not familiar with the parking garage?
I know they're going back up in the building.
You have not been inside. And you have not been inside overnight.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
The next piece of evidence I'd like to submit to the board for consideration today is an affidavit of Cinda Eisner. She couldn't be here on short notice, but she certainly probably be able to attend on the 28th. We'll bring her then. I'm going to read it into the record. It's notarized, and I will just ask to supplement their own testimony on the second day. My name is Cinda Eisner. I'm a resident of Washington County, Ohio. I'm competent to testify over the age of 18. I do not suffer from a legal disability and have personal knowledge of information set forth in it. I provide this affidavit voluntarily and have promised nothing in return for it. I'm employed by the United Postal Service, a full-time delivery driver. My assigned route is centered upon downtown Marietta. I've delivered this route for 6 years, and my route includes the location bearing the address of 286 Front Street, Marietta, Ohio, as well as locations bearing the address of 286 Front Street, Apartment 1, Marietta, Ohio, and 286 Front Street, Apartment 2, Marietta, Ohio. At no time during the performance of my job have I ever seen or delivered packages to Ann Labes at 286 Front Street, Marietta, Ohio. At no time during the performance of my job have I ever seen or delivered packages addressed to Ann Labes at 286 Front Street, Apartment 1, Marietta. At no time during the performance of my job have I ever seen or delivered packages addressed to Ann Labes at 286 Apartment 2, Marietta, Ohio. From my experience, packages addressed to 286 Front Street are related to the operation of the business. Slavis.
Yes, thank you.
Would you like that? I have another copy. Send it to the original report. And I would be happy to, and probably think it's appropriate to highlight the rest of the evidence that I would present through my witness if they were here, and then Mrs. Slavic would at least be able to see some of this. Is that appropriate for the board?
That's fine. I think we have, well, I'll let you weigh in. Do you want to hear what we're understanding is like an opening statement? It's not the evidence.
Okay, so what's about to be presented? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
I guess the finish of an opening statement, the additional witnesses and evidence to come in at a future hearing.
Is this like a proffer? This is
Yeah.
basically a proffer?
We can call it a proffer for sure.
This is
Sure, that's fine. I mean, I would state my objection to the record for a future hearing. I came prepared today. I have a lot of evidence myself to
Right,
present.
well-
I believe if this is your case in chief, this is your case in chief. You can give me whatever you got.
Yeah, and like I said, this is my opening statement, I'm reserving, case in chief, I'm reserving the time to come back because my client is sick and this is the information that I was going to present. And I'm offering it to you guys to see.
We're gonna take it as a proffer, but not as evidence for us to make a final.
Yes, and I would request a copy.
This, I'm just going to set your copies over here. This Laves is an attorney in West Virginia, an address that comes back to Parkersburg, but no address that comes back to 286 Front Street. Emmanuel's from the state of Ohio certificate is owned by David Laves. But according to the Secretary of State, I don't see Emmanuel's have any association with Ann Laves. I haven't been presented a lease, and maybe Ann has that. The voting records show the address here to be 286 Front Street. We are inclined to research the database to determine when that changed. Have that information, and if it's helpful to Ann, please send it. The business organization detail for Emmanuel's has Ann Laves in its listing and at 286 Front Street, which validates the finding. We're going to explore whether that was changed because if you look at Ann Laves West Virginia online database, it clearly shows her as the owner of this firm coming back to Bethel Road, 1105 actually. And the mailing address is 1160, and there's no address for the attorney at law's supposed home on 286 Front Street, where Emmanuel is actually. With that being said, board, I would reserve the right to bring additional evidence from the subpoenas and the additional witnesses on the 28th.
If I may, I'm gonna take a look at this stack over here of Googleable information. I think I could probably simulate some of this and take this time. This, that, the other. So if I could just have a few minutes, make sure all of this is verifiable. Chair, I'm not going to dispute any of this information. It's either information that's pulled from the West Virginia Secretary of State or from my West Virginia, but not my Ohio bar, like it's online. It's that I have no issue with this.
I would just note for both sides, we can take our own notice of our records. I think they indicate a change of address for you January of this year.
That will be correct.
February.
January, February, somewhere around there. January, February. I was newly postcarded.
That's what this, I was trying to confirm. We knew that it happened this year. We thought it was January.
Right.
We have those records. So at this point,
I'm not closing.
you're not
but I am
closing, but you're done
reserving my
with
right
this presentation this morning.
Due to unforeseen circumstances.
You may call your first witness.
Thank you, Chair. May I be afforded a brief statement?
Oh,
as-
sure.
As public
Yeah,
counsel,
yeah.
thank you very much. Okay, so I first want to address.
Why don't you come up so the reporter can get it? 'Cause
Well,
we are
I've-
fighting
I've got a
noise.
lot of stuff here, so. I could.
That's why I said if you'd like to borrow a chair, the table,
Yeah, that's okay.
we'll move the table up.
See if we can spread this out. Right down, it's right over here is fine. No,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, perfect.
Would like to pull it out so you can sit. Feel free.
All right, so first I want to address Mr. Grimm's complaint. I do not know Mr. Grimm. I have not met Mr. Grimm. I do not know any of the witnesses here today. I have not met any of the witnesses here today. I will address the specific code sections that he cited in his complaint. We'll start with 733.2. This requires the mayor to be electoral in office. This is kind of term. Then he attached, for some reason, 733.24, the section related to mayor of the village. Obviously, this is applicable as we are not a village. We do have a population well over 4,999. So that's going to be inapplicable. The broad claim that was made that there is no residence at 286 Front Street, I can easily refute. I have an evidence packet here for the board today. Particularly section 8 has my building department permits to build the loft that I live in, which was built to my specifications after I personally hired 6 people to design them, with me personally listed as the property owner. I will also state that the Secretary of State 2023 candidate requirement guide cites the residency requirements for mayor on page 9 as resident of the city and quotes one code section, Ohio Revised Code 3.15, which states that the mayor must be a resident for a term of office only with no other restrictions. So it is my position here today that Mr. Grimm's challenge and petition is not well founded. There is no residency requirement until the mayor takes term. However, I am prepared to put this issue to rest, the Davis witnesses, and ample evidence. So let's just get started here. I think first I will present my evidence and then refute the claims of that's it. I know this is quasi-judicial, it's not, so I'm just gonna, if that's all right.
This is not our first rodeo.
Wonderful, all right. So, I believe wholeheartedly that the weight of the evidence is in my favor. I will state that I have a packet here. Again, I know this is quasi-judicial, but I would prefer this packet, particularly camera, so to speak, because it does contain personal identification. My health insurance, my car insurance, my son, a lot of information that I would want part of the record. However, I do have the same copies stacked, but I want to make sure that the board can verify the same. So these will be the originals along with the document.
And I'll tell the board, I'll listen this all to Mr. Grimm. He looks at it and decides to withdraw. This is new to me, and I would like the right to prosecute this.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody's gonna get a chance to respond and reply.
So I'm just going to go through methodically. That's all right.
But can I just ask, the original packet I just got is unredacted.
This is unredacted.
Right.
So this is
You
going to
have a redacted version.
correct. I just want to make sure the
No.
board can verify.
We're
the
only gonna
authenticity.
share this among the board.
Correct. And I'll be following along with the redacted version, which I will then present for admission. So we're going to start with section 1, affidavits. Page 1.
Can you just give us a chance to each?
Oh, yes, of course. Let me know whenever you're finished, and I'll start.
No objection, candidates.
Sorry, what was that?
I didn't comment to her up there. I just said.
Okay, that's my health insurance information. I prefer if we can just verify it outside of the envelope, which has my name and address. If the board feels they need to open my health insurance information, maybe. But I would prefer obviously. No, that's irrelevant. Irrelevant. Just notes. Just
Go ahead.
And I can leave this information with you as I go along.
So first on my evidence of Robert, I have the section of affidavits. I have 10 in total. I can read these into the record for so desires. I will begin page 1, affidavit. I, Dr. Carson Wong, rent an apartment at 286 Front Street in Marietta, where I stay approximately 4 to 5 days a week while working at Marietta Memorial Hospital. Ann Lavis lives in the apartment next to me, and I have visited her, her husband, and her son at the apartment, and we see each other regularly. I make this statement in my position, and I declare that the above stated facts are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Dr. Wong will not make this statement notarized. He's a very, very busy man, but he is available if we need to talk to him. Page 2, affidavit. I, Michael Burdick, live 286 Front Street, make oath and say that 1. I have lived next to Ann Lavis and her family at her place of residence, second floor at 286 Front Street, Marietta, Ohio, since I moved here in January 2. I have personally seen Ann and her family outside or in our hallway nearly every day, including in the mornings and late evenings when I work. 3. Ann has an infant son who I hear crying every day. 4. I have moved their laundry from our shared washer to the dryer, and I have folded the baby's laundry a couple times to help out. 5. I am executing this affidavit with my own volition and then the notary law. Signature. Page 3, affidavit. I, Norman Pritchard, make oath and say that 1. I have been upstairs many times at 286 Front Street. 2. I know Ann Lavis and see her and her family there all the time with all their stuff. 3. It is clear to me that they live there. 4. I am executing this affidavit under my own volition, and he makes it swear. Okay, 4. I, Chauncey Yost of 6364 State Route 550 in Cutler, Ohio, make oath and say that 1. I have been upstairs many times at 286 Front Street to visit Ann Lavis. 2. I have brought food to her while she was busy with the baby. 3. While working in the restaurant, I would text her for help when I needed something. She would come down to her apartment to help. 4. Obvious that she lives there. 5. I'm executing this affidavit under my own volition. Then she signs. We're at 6. I believe so. I lost count. I, Allison Arocho of 730 5th Street, Marietta, Ohio, make oath and say that. We'll also note Allison is here today, so we need to speak to her directly. 1. I have visited Ann Lavis and her family at her place of residence on the second floor at 26 Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. I have purchased items for her son before his birth in December of 2022, including a diaper pail, white warmer, and high chair. All of these items, as well as her personal items, and that of her family, furniture, clothes, sentimental items, food, TV, computer, etc., are at her residence at 286 Front Street. It is clear that she lives there, and I am executing this affidavit with my own volition. Next. I, Tyler Sampson, of 3546 Dunphy Road in Poolville, make oath and say that I have visited Ann Lavis and her family at her place of residence on the second floor at 286 Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. It is obvious that she and her family live there. I am executing this affidavit under my own volition. I, Robert Durst, of 614 Market Street, Parkersburg, West Virginia, make oath and say that I have visited Ann Lavis and her family at her place of residence numerous times on the second floor at 286 Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. It is obvious that she lives there. I painted a custom mural for Ann and her husband in 2022 on a wall of their loft apartment that symbolizes their relationship. I am executing this affidavit under my own volition. I, Candido Tony Arocho of 4202 Chester Road, Albany, Ohio, make oath and say that I have visited Ann Lovis and her family at her place of residence on the second floor at 286 Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. I purchased items for her son before his birth in December of 2022, including a baby swing, toys, and clothes. All of these items, as well as her personal items and that of her family, furniture, clothes, sentimental items, food, TV, computer, etc., are at their residence at 286 Front Street. I am executing this affidavit. I, Kevin Paskowich, for the court order, that's P-A-S-K-A-W-Y-C-H, of 421 3rd Street in Marietta, Ohio, made oath and say that I have visited Ann Lovis at her residence on the second floor at 286 Front Street in Marietta. It is obvious that she lives there with all her personal belongings and that of her family. And the affidavit of Emmanuel Rocho, who is also present. I, Emmanuel Rocho, of 735th Street, Marietta, Ohio, make oath and say that I have visited Ann Lovis and her family at her place of residence numerous times on the second floor at 286 Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. I purchased items for her son before his birth in December of 2022, including a diaper pail, white warmer, toys, and clothes. All of these items, as well as her personal items and that of her family, furniture, clothes, sentimental items, food, TV, computer, etc., are at her residence at 286 Front Street. I am executing this affidavit under my own volition. Now, if we will turn to section 2 of my evidence packet, this is the DMV change of address. This is going to be 2 pages copy. The original report is the actual card itself. For those who aren't aware, this is what the DMV does now when you change your address. They send you a card and you're supposed to keep it along with your driver's license. This is the instructions for the DMV. This is going to be the second paragraph in front of the card. Please cut along the dotted lines below and carry the card containing your updated address with your driver's license. Now on the other side of the card, you will see the date it was mailed through the USPS as February 16th, 2023, and of course it was mailed to me at my address, 286 Front Street in Marietta. Section 3, BMV registration renewal. This is a registration renewal that was sent to me and Steve Lovis at my address, 286 Front Street, from the Ohio Department of Public Safety related to a renewal application for 2023. 1 page. All right, section 4, cable bills. Okay, page 1 is going to be the first cable bill that I paid for under my account. It is an email. It reads Cast Cable and it has billing at castcable.com. Dear Ann, thank you for your payment received on 8/2/22, and it has the address at 286 Front Street, Apartment 1, Marietta, Ohio. And it is dated August 2nd, 2022 at 11:50. Second page of section 4 is going to be the last bill that I received from Cast Cable. So I have my first and my last. The last is going to be dated 8/10/2023, and you're going to have my name at the top and my address at the top at 286 Front Street. All right, section 5. This is healthcare. So this is going to be, again, I didn't want to necessarily offer the details of my healthcare and all of my health records, but I do have bills and important plan information from a care source addressed to both me at 286 Front Street on the first page and my infant son, Emmanuel Gold, 286 Front Street on the second. All right, section 6, auto insurance. All right, so on section 6, we're going to have 1 page. I believe the board has front and back. However, this is the declarations page, Progressive Auto Insurance. It is addressed to Ari Gold at 286 Front Street, and if I can drag your attention down, probably about 3/4 of the way through the page, you will see drivers and household residents listed. Ari Gold is there, and I am there as well. 7. This is electric. All right, this is the most recent electric bill we received at this address. Let's see, it's going to be one page, dated July 21st, 2023. This bill is addressed to David Lopez, 286 Front Street. Now again, this account was set up prior to my husband being his father. His previous name was David Lopez prior to 2020, and it has 286 Front Street as the service address for the electric. Now, Section 8 is going to be the building department plans. So there has been an allegation here made both by opposing counsel and tangentially that there is no residence at 286 Front Street. So this part of my presentation is obviously directly. Now here I have records from the Southeast Ohio Building Department. You're going to see at the top the date that it was issued, 12/13/2019. It's going to say plan approval on the first page, and on the first page in the upper left-hand corner, it is going to have the occupant and the property lots, Emmanuel LLC and Lavis, 286 Front Street, Marietta, Ohio. And you will see that final inspection was made, finished final, and signed. On the second page, you're going to have the first page of what Sixmo presented to the building department when I hired it to the departments. This is dated November 1st, 2019, addressed to Colson, RE, Front Street Apartments. So from here on out in this section, you're going to have all the plan review documentation. You're going to have the physical drawings and sketches by Sixmo. I will direct the board's attention to a particular page. It would be 6 in my packet. Just make sure we're all on the same page. It does this one. Okay. Now this plan has the plan for the loft apartments that I built, and on the other side it does have existing apartments on the other side. These are the new apartments that I built to my specifications. Again, the person listed as the occupant for the building department is me. On the last page, you can see that again. And we go through the checklist items, all the inspections I had to do, etc. The person who is to be contacted is us. Now, I do not have copies of these, and this is, oh, sorry, one last page. My Section 9 safety recall for vehicle, this would be for the Kia Sportage, is the only vehicle that is on my name for 2 years. Again, it is addressed to Ann Lavis at 286 Front Street, Ohio. Now, the next part of my presentation I do not necessarily have copies of because they include photos of the interior of my apartment and photos of me and my son throughout the time period that are times. I would prefer that these be viewed by the board, or whoever absolutely needs to view them here today. I would object to being necessarily part of the public record. I understand that they have to be, but again, this is infringing on my rights quite a bit. I'm happy to do it to put assuage any concerns and put any concerns to the best. But these are going to be personal photos.
For now, we'll keep them out of the public record. I guess if we refer to them.
Correct.
Yeah, so.
Right. I would just prefer that if they are reproduced in any way, because they have to be, maybe blurring out the face of the child might be helpful. So the first set of photographs are from the interior of the apartment. This is for reference, so that, and then I have a packet here of photos that I obtained in January. Site. I think photos that have identifying features in the back where you can see inside the apartment. So the first
first set is just so that you can verify, you can see the features, you know what, this is the location we're talking about. And this packet is going to be chronological packet. I can go through these individually or I can just do it at the end. First in the packet is January 16th, 5:32. January 30th, today, 7. January 28th, January 30th, and February 20, February 23, February 26, March 2nd, 4th, March 31st, April 16, 1st, May 5th, May 21, June 24, and again, these photos were specifically chosen because I believe you can see identifying features of the apartment in
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is identified.
We're going to moment to this.
Yeah. That's where you go. So just to wrap up, I will first say the burden of establishing a clear and convincing evidence, which is the height standard. That I am not a resident where I live, and I don't live in any of the sections that decided. That's I feel that based on the weight of the evidence, I have established a residency, and the burden is not on the burden and on the point. I do understand that he's having health issues, however, he is represented by counsel, and I would object to any hearing, subpoena, etc. I came with evidence that far outweighs that of same notice I did to prepare because I understand that I have this morning. That doesn't negate the fact that he amended no evidence. There's a very little late today from two individuals who do not know me. Right, and a statement from the postal carrier who I would state is likely not my regular carrier. My regular carrier is supposed to front over. You guys, I would also say that I have demonstrated ample evidence to the board here today that I do in fact receive amnesty.
You have questions?
I just have one statement. I think all hands proven that she was upstairs. Very aware of all of this evidence. Proof. Jack David will say, I saw her upstairs. So the legal issue is one we can brief, we don't have to. You have to put department members on your petition, file it, and have an appropriate evidence.
I would say no because I own the entire building. I go in any door of that building and I own it.
She has proven.
I would believe that opposing counsel presented evidence that my husband is nowhere of anyone, so I'll see that Ohio is community I believe that that's a step.
Why am I?
It's completely
I would like, just for the record, I know that you're representing here. Are you saying today, under oath, that for residents, where you
Express Street,
reside,
286 Express Street, Marietta. I not live downstairs, but it is all 286. According to the
Well, I know
building department,
something, right?
according to auditor, all 286. Mail comes in the front door, comes in the side door, whatever door it comes in, it comes to me. I don't. She,
So Ms. Wallace, you indicated you changed your residence as of January of this year,
it would have been, I forgive me, I don't remember the.
but it was after the first of the year.
Correct.
And the cable bill for 286, I believe you said its first was in August.
I started in August. I wasn't satisfied with the speed we were getting over there, so I wanted one that was personally for me, for my use.
And the building plans were in 2019.
2019 to be completed in 20. It took quite some time, so I believe the last, I don't even know what it says. I turned over my whole packet, so
Oh, here.
I can get the back. So I can,
Hold on.
yeah, so I would have received the permits in 2018. Or any. Oh, 21, May 21.
What was completed?
That's when we,
That would've-
that was pre-finished.
Right, so this would have been, let me see what he's saying over here. This would have been, so there's several things. So this would have been before the final things, been in May.
Everything was covered.
I was just trying to figure out if I understood some of the records. Cat's Cable, lists you as a personal home. How many is Burton's are? And you're one?
Correct.
I just wanted, because the other witnesses didn't feel about Burton.
Right, I have
Dr.
two witnesses,
Wong.
Dr. Wong and Michael Burton.
You're in Burton.
Or like, Dr. Wong is behind me, and Michael is, if I'm going up the stairs, he's still up, so he's directly across the hall. The door's going to
So, but most of people just happen to know.
What they do, so
You
my,
have individual mailboxes.
we have two mailboxes for letters outside, they're not linked. So my postal carrier knows, front door. She knows she has a code, she can punch in the code and lay whatever she needs to inside.
Two mailboxes outside.
I would, they just kind of, I wouldn't say they're
So when you punch the code, is that for all four of them upstairs?
that would, yes, that would
Okay.
lead you up the hallway to all of you, and then each apartment on its own. So she has the front door, not the, so he practice for anybody.
So you have a code to enter into the common stairway,
Correct.
and then each individual apartment has its own code.
But yes. And if the restaurant is open, she'll bring the resident to the restaurant. Correct, yes. She just walks inside.
Now,
Hands us the stack and we do it. The restaurant is closed, she.
now this is the U.S. Post Office.
Correct.
How about UPS?
Same thing. Regularly comes. You get a new person.
just wanted to think, was there, and you may have addressed this in this last one, the architect's material lists a 284 Front Street.
So it is one building. They're not separated. There's, go upstairs, you have access to it, right or on the left. Or itself, you know, 286, auditor has, the auditor has 286 and has had it.
So where did the architect get 284?
Technically, it's right next door. 284. 284 would be the dining area. Upstairs, it is all.
I was just wondering that they were doing their work.
Right. All right, well, 286 already, so those who remember the. Yeah, so he's already existing.
Right.
Again, it's all one piece, you can access any of it. It's not two discrete separate. So, I don't know how to well, I don't even have it already. I don't have that. So, probably the rest directors would have been the one. Probably. To get that card. To get that card.
Which I think we get, if I recall, our records correctly, in our records. So, voting residents.
Correct. It's about the same time. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's exactly.
Were there any other questions?
Did you change your address to 286 Front Street once you moved in? If you're doing this remodel, was it lit there at that time?
I had some things there. I gave birth in 1997. And then.
You actually moved in.
Right. When I directly moved into 286, I had this space reserved with nobody else in it. I don't think that I say that I moved and I can't give a specific date. It's kind of come on, James. Correct.
Started actually living there, staying there.
This year.
Who else lives with you in 286 Road?
My husband and my son.
And do you own the property at 1160 Bethel?
The LLC owns that property.
And is there anybody living in that?
I know somebody stays there sometimes. Well, even will stay there sometimes, but there's some.
So it's basically, you can let that empty.
Yes, sure.
Anything else?
otherwise stated. Board for action.
Anything?
Yes, I'll move to open executive session to discuss.
Second. Do I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?